Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now the price of Ethereum is following Bitcoin in this massive explosion to the upside. So let's get straight into the Ethereum chart. This right here is the Ethereum 12-hour chart, and obviously the price of Ethereum has been looking bullish in the shorter term for some time now over the past 1 to 2 weeks, especially ever since Ethereum broke above this massive line of resistance. But more recently, over the past 1 day, the price of Ethereum has finally broken above these previous highs, which obviously means Ethereum is putting in higher highs, and of course we're still forming higher lows, which is simply bullish market structure. And by the way, the technical price target for this symmetrical triangle pattern that has already broken out to the upside is coming in at around $4,000 per Ethereum. But as I've mentioned multiple times in my recent Ethereum update videos, even though the technical price target for this symmetrical triangle pattern is at 4,000, that does not mean the price of Ethereum is going to go straight to 4,000 in one straight line. Instead, a more likely scenario is having some short-term cool-offs and perhaps some pullbacks along the way, because of course there are some other points of resistance between the current price and that $4,000 technical price target. For example, if we bring out our Fibonacci retracement tool from the all-time high down to the swing low, our next important Fibonacci level is the most important Fibonacci level, which is the golden pocket, coming in at around 3.6k. So there will likely be a lot of resistance at around 3,600 before we can actually get towards 4,000, so keep that in mind. And if you're simply going off this previous high that we saw in the Ethereum price during the middle of January, we could have some short-term resistance at around 3.4k, but technically speaking, that 3.4k level of resistance is not as strong as 3.6k or perhaps towards 4,000. And while we're on the 12-hour Ethereum chart, technically speaking, all three of these indicators are still pointing in the bullish direction, but something important to pay attention to is the 12-hour Ethereum RSI, which is right now sitting in overbought territory. For any of the beginners out there, this just basically means that Ethereum is getting a little bit too overheated in the shorter term, so some sort of short-term cool-off like sideways price action or a slight pullback could be a likely scenario. But keep in mind, even though a short-term cool-off could be a likely scenario, the short-term trend is still clearly a bullish trend. We're forming higher lows and higher highs, so the uptrend itself has not currently been broken. And speaking about the Ethereum uptrend and overbought territories, the same can be said about the daily time frame as well. The daily Ethereum RSI is only just now entering into overbought territories. If you're looking at Ethereum's price structure on the daily chart, this is clearly bullish price structure as well, but we are also seeing the daily Ethereum RSI enter into overbought territories. And considering the fact that the daily Ethereum RSI has gone from oversold to overbought, the last time we saw this happen on the daily Ethereum chart was during April 2020. Obviously, we had that massive March 2020 crash, which brought the daily Ethereum RSI into oversold territories. And then as the price of Ethereum recovered back to the upside, the RSI trended towards overbought territories. And what happened at that point in time just there was basically just a sideways consolidation in the price of Ethereum, which simply cooled off the RSI down towards neutral values, giving us more room to the upside later on. We also saw something similar during July and August last year, but the RSI didn't come from oversold territories in that example. But after this massive bullish recovery in the price of Ethereum during July and August 2021, that placed the daily Ethereum RSI into overbought territories, and what came next was basically a sideways consolidation. And while that was happening, the Ethereum RSI on the daily time frame was cooling off down towards neutral values again, giving us more room to the upside later on. And then Ethereum entered into another correction after forming a bearish divergence. So basically, just by looking at Ethereum's history, it wouldn't be too surprising if we do end up seeing either a slight pullback in the price of Ethereum or more likely some sideways consolidation. But of course, if you're zooming even further out, for example, over on the 3-day Ethereum chart, we are still looking really bullish here. The RSI still has a lot more room to the upside, and the 3-day Ethereum MACD only recently has been gaining a lot more bullish momentum, which has been something that we've been lacking during February and early March. And while we're on the 3-day Ethereum chart, of course, the Bollinger Bands, after having a major squeeze phase, are only just now beginning to expand, which means Ethereum is in its early stages of seeing a massive move in the market. You can simply take a look for yourself throughout Ethereum's previous history. Pretty much every single time where we see a squeeze in these 3-day Bollinger Bands, we end up seeing a major move in the market, whether that's a bullish move or a bearish move. And usually when the Bollinger Bands begin to expand again, when that is happening, that basically confirms the direction of that massive move in the market, no matter if it's a bullish move or a bearish move. And obviously right now we are heading in the bullish direction as the Bollinger Bands are beginning to slowly expand, which is essentially confirming a larger bullish move in the market on the larger timeframes. But keep in mind, even during these larger bullish moves in the market, we still have some shorter term bearish price action from time to time. So when I say we're currently in an uptrend for Ethereum, that doesn't mean mean that every single day is going to be a green day. So even if Ethereum plays out a few bearish days here and there, that is perfectly normal even during a bullish trend. And if you're zooming even further out on the Ethereum chart, this right here is the weekly time frame looking at Ethereum's entire price history. And because we've just seen a weekly candle close, we have just confirmed a second green dot in the weekly parabolic stop and reverse indicator. And so obviously this is clearly a bullish signal for the larger time frames, talking about these much larger moves in the market. And while we're on the weekly time frame, taking a look at the weekly Ethereum MACD, and right now we are getting extremely close to a weekly bullish cross. But even though we're getting very close to a bullish cross, I want to make it clear that we haven't seen the bullish cross just yet. And then once we see the bullish cross, we also need to see at least one weekly candle close to confirm that bullish cross in place. So depending on how bullish or bearish the next 1 to 2 weeks are for Ethereum, it is very likely based on the current trends that we're going to see a weekly bullish cross in the MACD within the next 1 to 2 weeks, and then we'll also need to see a weekly candle close on top of that. And once again, if you simply take a look for yourself at the other times where we've seen a weekly bullish cross in the MACD, when the MACD is actually sitting in negative territory, you really get to see how bullish these signals are for Ethereum in the longer term. And I also hope you understand just how rare these opportunities are, because you can see right here that throughout Ethereum's entire price history, ever since 2015, we have only ever had 3 other time periods where this bullish signal has occurred. But if you're counting the bullish crosses in the weekly MACD themselves, when the MACD is in negative territory, technically we saw 2 bullish crosses in this previous time period in late 2019 and early 2020. But those 2 bullish crosses that happened during that time period right there were only really split apart because of that black swan event that happened in early 2020. If it wasn't for the March 2020 crash, we would have likely only seen 1 bullish cross in that time period. And that entire time period right there still ended up playing out as the 1 bullish signal anyway. So essentially the long-term Ethereum charts are still looking very bullish. And just giving you a quick update on the Bitcoin dominance today, right now we're still basically in this sideways consolidation, which could turn out to be a possible bear flag if the Bitcoin dominance breaks this low at around 42.4% dominance. But for now, while the Bitcoin dominance is basically just trading sideways, the altcoin market on average is essentially doing the same thing as Bitcoin. So this isn't necessarily an altcoin season right now. But like I just said, if we break below this low and play out a possible bear flag here, then that would be bullish for the altcoin market and technically be a short-term altcoin season at the very least. And just giving you a quick update on the US stock market today, this right here is the S&P 500 index on the daily time frame, and we are still running into this very important level of resistance, which is of course the golden pocket sitting at around 45.40 to around 45.60. And of course, for those of you that have been watching my videos even just last week, we were looking at that importance level of resistance. And so far today, at the time of recording this video, the S&P 500 index is getting a slight rejection from that range of resistance. Now, if we just see 1 red day, that is not too bad, but if we see a bit more of a rejection here, perhaps down to these lower Fibonacci levels, sitting at around 44.50 and around 43.70, then in that scenario, that would possibly result in a correction in crypto prices like Ethereum. But also in that scenario, let's just say if the S&P 500 index gets a further rejection, perhaps down to the 38.2% Fibonacci level, then that would open us up for the possibility of a possible inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is a technical bullish pattern. But at the time of recording this video, it is still too early to tell if the S&P 500 index is going to see a further rejection here or a possible break to the upside. So for now, this is really just a deciding moment to pay attention to. And if you want to stay up to date in the crypto markets at all times, make sure you follow me over on my Twitter, and the link to my Twitter is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment alongside my new Instagram. But anyway, if you found this video useful or simply enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. And before we click off, if you want to maximize your profits in the crypto markets, whether or not prices are going up or down, then these 2 videos popping up right here on your screen are definitely for you to watch. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.